Let's talk about why you as a real estate investor should not invest in apartments. You always hear people say apartments are the best way to build wealth. Let me ask you something. If they're so great, why do you see so many investors end up frustrated or even stressed out, and sometimes even losing money? Well, I can tell you why, because I used to own a portfolio of apartment buildings in California and in Texas. Today I'm going to walk you through the real reasons why apartments might not be the golden ticket that you seem to think that they are. All right, first and foremost, we've got government regulations. Absolutely hated them. But apartments are one of the most heavily regulated asset classes in real estate. We're talking about rent control laws. You got tenant protections, eviction moratoriums. The list just goes on and on. And here's the problem. You can't control any of it. Even if the market is hot and demand is high, laws can stop you from raising rents enough to cover your expenses. That means your profits are capped by forces completely out of your control. Now let's talk about the financing. Getting a loan on an apartment building is not like financing other commercial properties. Lenders put you under a microscope. You have high reserves, you got stricter underwriting, you got tough requirements across the board. So what does that mean for you? You've got to bring more cash to the table. Your leverage is lower and your ability to scale gets slowed down. Not exactly investor friendly. So here's where things get really tricky, and it's the management. With apartments, you've got a lot of tenants. And the more tenants you have, the more problems you're going to deal with. You're going to have maintenance calls. You're going to have noise complaints. You're going to have late rents. You're going to have turnovers. You either become a full-time landlord or you end up paying a property management company, which cuts into your cash flow. So when people hire property management, they tend to believe they've created a passive income investment. Well, let me tell you a story about how passive it is. So here's my examples. We were buying a portfolio of properties in Texas. And one of the assets, we were sitting across the table from one of the property managers. And she point blank asked us, are you going to be keeping me on? And we're looking at all the income for the property. We're looking at the expenses. And we're looking at her salary. And it's double what the current market rate is. And so we said, no, we're not going to be able to. And so she pulls out her pay stub and shows it to us. And she is actually getting market rate, and the property management company is actually pocketing the rest of it. Now, that wasn't the end of it. Now, this was an out-of-state owner that never came to the property, did not get boots on the ground on this property. And this was always the killer, because when we were trying to buy properties, this is where we went with these kind of owners. On that property, they also had a property manager. They had an assistant property manager. Now, the property manager was getting a 3-bedroom apartment for free. The assistant property manager was getting a discount in rent. There was obviously the property manager we were already talking to. She was getting a discount in rent, and her assistant was getting a discount in rent. Now, the problem is that lead maintenance guy wasn't even working on that property. He was working for the property management company on a property down the street, and they were giving him a 3-bedroom apartment for free. So this is why you need to get boots on the ground, get out to the property, walk, talk, and meet everybody. Even if you can know everybody by name, that's incredible. But either way, it's not as passive as people make it sound. Next, we have good old competition. And the multifamily market tends to have much more competition than other assets. In down markets, your desperate competitors may offer discounts or concessions that just aren't good business sense. And like it or not, you're going to have to match it. And I can give you a prime example because it happened to us. So we bought these properties in a low to moderate income areas, and our neighbors started doing $99 moves you in. That's a security deposit. You're moved in. People started living there. Well, at the end of that month, these people tend to not move, and you'd have to start an eviction on them. So it made for very hard times on those assets. So we went back up. It was the whole area struggled for a while. It's back now, but you got to worry about your competition. The next reason we have is rents may fluctuate. There's always one certainty. Your expenses are going to go up, especially now with insurance. So you got taxes, insurance, utilities, repairs. All that's gotten a lot more expensive, and they're going to continue to rise over time. But here's the kicker. You can't always pass those costs on to your tenants. Rent caps or just plain market resistance can stop you from raising rents high enough to keep up, which means your cash flow starts shrinking, even if the property is full. And of course, you can't forget about the good old wear and tear. Just think about it. You've got dozens or if not hundreds of people living on a property. The building takes a beating. You've got plumbing issues. You've got broken appliances. You got flooring that has to be completely replaced. It just never ends. those costs add up fast, and they will eat away at what look like a solid return. So yes, apartments can work for some investors, but they're not that safe, easy path that they're often advertised as. Between government restrictions, strict lending, management headaches, rising expenses, and nonstop wear and tear, you might just find what looked like a dream investment quickly turns into a nightmare. Now, if you've ever thought about investing in apartments, or if you're already invested in them, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below about your experience, about what's your biggest challenge. Like I said before in all my closings, we're really trying to build a community here, and all of your thoughts work well in the comments. We can all respond back and forth. So if you could, please give us a like, and if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe.